30 teams, 30 relievers, let's rank them using statistics. Number 30 is Garrett Crochet of the Chicago White Sox. There isn't really a whole lot to choose here after Gregory Santos was traded to the Mariners, but I went with Crochet just because he is the most upside out of all of them. When he was drafted and when he debuted, he was known for his lively fastball that was averaging over 100 miles per hour, but now he's sitting at just 97 miles per hour, which is still great, but not in that upper echelon anymore. He walks a lot of people, the control is not really there. I think he should put up some better strikeout numbers over a full season. The fastball's still good. The slider's probably a little bit better. It has 8.3 inches above average horizontal break, which is great, but we need to see that translate into production before I put him any higher. Number 29 is Will Smith for the Kansas City Royals. Now, Smith's still good. He still made the list as the best pitcher on his team, but he just really isn't that elite guy anymore. He's just kind of average all around, 56th percentile strikeout rate, 64th percentile walk rate, 56th percentile hard hit rate, so pretty much average on control stuff and his ability to produce weak contact. He's going to be 34 years old. There might not be much left in the tank for Smith. He comes in at 29. Number 28 is Justin Lawrence from the Colorado Rockies. Two-pitch guy, sinker, sweeper. The sweeper is very good, throws it about 50% of the time, and he has a 149 batting average against and a 159 expected batting average against. So nobody's hitting this thing. One thing he does well is he limits the barrels with an 85th percentile barrel rate. This is obviously very important when you're pitching for the Rockies in Coors Field. As far as everything else goes, nothing really stands out, so he comes in here at number 28. Number 27 is Chris Martin for the Boston Red Sox. Now, you may be surprised that he's this low after he posted a low ones ERA last year. One thing you will notice with this list is that I don't really care about ERA because for relievers, they don't really have a large sample size to use, so ERA typically not a great stat. The thing I really do care about is strikeout stuff, and that's something that Martin really doesn't have. He's going to be 38 years old this year. I don't see him having anywhere near as productive a season as he did in 2023, but he will be solid, and I think he'll still be the best reliever on the Red Sox team that doesn't really have much coming out of the bullpen. Number 26 is Mason Miller of the Oakland A's. Miller obviously showed some really good flashes last season in a small sample. He went down with the dreaded forearm tightness, and now it looks like he'll be a full-time reliever going forward, which I think will be his best place. In the bullpen, he can really focus on getting his two best pitches, the four-seamer and slider, to be both reliable. The fastball, obviously, we know it has life to it. That's why he was a top 100 prospect. The slider gets some good movement on it. The strikeout stuff's there, the potential is there. I really do think he has the makings to be an elite reliever in this league. I just need to see him pitch a few innings before putting him any higher than 26. Number 25 is Yuki Matsui for the San Diego Padres. In spring training, Matsui struck out the first three batters he faced. That's great and all, but this is his first year in the majors, and typically we see pitchers struggle a little bit before settling in when they come over from places like Korea and Japan. The ball is different, the environment is different. It takes some time to getting used to. The numbers he put up in the MPB were dominant, and if he could do anything even close to that in the majors, then he'll be higher on this list. I just need to see him play in a major league game before I commit too highly to him. Number 24 is Josh Sborz of the Texas Rangers. If you watched my iceberg video all the way back in August, you would know that I was on the Josh Sborz train long before he made a name for himself in the playoffs. He has great stuff, 91st percentile strikeout rate last year and a 98th percentile whiff rate. He knows how to generate the swing and miss. He does it with all three pitches, fastball, slider, curveball. All three are great pitches, but the fastball is elite with 2.6 inches less drop than average. Hitters are going to get underneath it, pop it up, miss it entirely. He's a little older than you might like. He's going to be 30 this year, but I think he will be solid for the back end of this Rangers bullpen. Number 23 is Hunter Harvey for the Washington Nationals. Harvey also has great strikeout stuff. He posted an 84th percentile strikeout rate in 2023. He also throws a hard fastball, splitter, slider, and curveball. The spin rates and movement aren't as impressive as Sborz, but the production has been there. He posted a sub-3 ERA in the past two seasons, and he's kept the walks in check with an 89th percentile walk rate last year. Anytime you can have a high strikeout rate and a low walk rate like Harvey had in 2023, that's obviously a good thing, and that's why he's on this list representing the Nationals at number 23. Number 22 is Will Vest representing the Detroit Tigers. I don't hear a lot of people talking about Will Vest, but they definitely should be. The strikeout numbers to walk numbers are very good. He put up a sub-3 ERA. The fastball's fine. The slider works well off of it. Has a changeup that he throws pretty much exclusively to lefties. Now, I don't think this is some elite bullpen arm, but he's definitely going to be solid for the Tigers in 2024. Number 21 is Adbert Alzolay for the Chicago Cubs. Not a huge strikeout guy, but he is still solid with a 74th percentile strikeout rate. He excels at the control aspect. He put up a 92nd percentile walk rate in 2023. The slider is his best pitch, and it's a pretty good one. The whiff rate on it is north of 40%, which is very good. He's not necessarily a pitch-to-contact guy, as his ground ball rate and hard hit rate are closer to the average mark, meaning he doesn't really generate a lot of weak contact or a lot of ground balls to be considered that pitch-to-contact guy. He has good enough stuff and great control, though, to be effective out of the bullpen for the Cubs. Number 20 is Yennier Cano of the Baltimore Orioles. Don't get me wrong, Cano had a great year last year, breaking out at 29 years old. He's not a big strikeout guy. He gets outs with the ground ball. He does throw a lot of strikes and lets the hitters hit the ball on the ground. He had a 96th percentile walk rate and a 96th percentile ground ball rate. That's not surprising when you look at his arsenal that includes a sinker with 8.8 inches more drop than the average. That is going to cause a lot of weak contact and hitters to get on top of the ball. Those numbers are great, but for relievers, I typically lean towards the guys with the better strikeout stuff. I don't think Cano is bad by any means, but he's going to be 30 years old. The strikeouts aren't there, so I am a little lower on him than most people. Number 19 is another guy who broke out last year, and that's Robert Stevenson for the Los Angeles Angels. The Angels paid him a $33 million contract over 3 years for a reason. Now, it is a little concerning that the Angels are investing this kind of money into a 31-year-old with a small sample of success, but the Angels have done worse, so I'm not too worried about this. Stevenson has the stuff to be a great reliever. You can really see that when looking at his spin rates. He throws his slider just under 3,000 RPM, which is second only to Lucas Sims of the Reds. It had a whiff rate of 42%, which is great. The best pitch, though, is the cutter. He got a 60% whiff rate with it, and hitters hit just 101 and slugged 253 against it. That's just amazing numbers. I want to see him do it over a full season, though, before he jumps up any higher. Number 18 is Tanner Scott, representing the Miami Marlins. Scott is the last of this breakout trio here, and he had the best season out of them in 2023. He's always had the strikeout stuff, but the walks were a huge problem. Like, we're talking about 6 walks per 9 in 2021 and 2022. In 2023, he got that number all the way down to 2.8, which is obviously much better. Is he going to keep up this production, though? Maybe. But he gave up a lot less home runs than he normally does throughout his career in 2023, which could be sustained, but also there is a good chance that he regresses back to his career averages. His arsenal is pretty generic, fastball, slider, both are pretty good. I want to see him put up another big season before he gets into that top tier of relievers. Number 17 is Raisel Iglesias from the Atlanta Braves. Iglesias has posted a sub-3 ERA the past 4 seasons. He's getting up there in age at 34 years old, so it can only go on for so long. His strikeout rate is in the 88th percentile, walk rate in the 78th percentile. That's pretty good. Both of these metrics have been on the decline for Iglesias since 2021, which makes sense with his age. I don't think he's going to fall off a cliff or anything, but he does seem to be declining year by year. Number 16 is Alexis Diaz of the Cincinnati Reds. He has the stuff. 90th percentile strikeout rate, 95th percentile whiff rate. He has that 3/4 whippy arm action that makes his 95 miles per hour 4-seam fastball play much faster than it actually is. Especially when you take into account his 100th percentile extension. Extension just means how far down the mound he goes, and he goes pretty far, top of the league in fact. That means the ball has less distance to travel, and it gets on the batter much quicker. The walks are a little concerning, not gonna lie. 6th percentile walk rate's not gonna get it done. The stuff is there though, and I really like that. Number 15 is a similar profile of pitcher, and that's Paul Sewald of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Fastball slider guy, a lot of strikeouts, and the walks are a little bit up there. Something that Sewald did a lot better in 2023 than he did throughout his career was inducing weak contact. His hard hit rate was in the 95th percentile. That's good. He is a little bit older at 33 years old, so some regression is probably going to be coming here soon. For now, though, I have him here at number 15. Number 14 is Jordan Romano for the Toronto Blue Jays. He's very similar to Alexis Diaz, 100th percentile extension, fastball slider guy, 86th percentile K rate, 96th percentile whiff rate, but his walk numbers aren't as out of control. His stuff is a little bit better than Sewald, and his control's a little bit better than Diaz, so I have him one spot above both of them. He has been good for a while now. The past 3 seasons, 2.9 ERA, 2.11, 2.14. The production has been there. The underlying numbers are there. Jordan Romano, very good. Number 13 is Clay Holmes for the New York Yankees. Now, he's not an elite strikeout guy, but he's just so good at getting the ground ball and missing barrels that he has to be this high. He's in the 100th percentile on ground ball rate and 99th percentile on barrel rate. You aren't going to be hitting home runs off this guy. Now, it's not like he has awful stuff. He was in the 77th percentile for strikeout rate, and the slider did generate a 43% whiff rate, which is great. The sinker is a great fit to go along with that slider, 6.1 inches of drop above the average, which is what leads to the high ground ball rate and the low barrel rate. Number 12 is Pete Fairbanks, representing the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, he's really good, but he just hasn't been able to put together a solid sample size in a single season. He pitched 45 innings last year, 24 innings the year before, and 43 in 2021. He has a crazy high strikeout rate at 37%. He generates weak contact, 97th percentile barrel rate. He has great swing and miss stuff, and when batters do make contact, it's generally pretty weak. If he wants to truly be in that elite category, he's just going to have to pitch more. Give me 60 innings, Pete, please. Thank you. Number 11 is Ryan Helsley from the St. Louis Cardinals. Helsley, very similar to Fairbanks, great pitcher, great stuff, 100 miles per hour fastball, let's go, that's amazing. But he has only one season with over 60 innings pitched. You can't generate much value when you're not on the field for more than 60 innings. Relievers are already pretty low value as is, and if you're not pitching north of 60 innings, it's really hard to have an impact on the team. The stuff is there though, strikeout rate 36%, hello, whiff rate 35%, that's great. He has one of the best fastballs in the league, 100 miles per hour, 2.7 inches less drop than the average. Good luck getting on top of that. 60 innings, Helsley, please. Thank you. Getting to the top 10, starting off with number 10, that is Matt Brash of the Seattle Mariners. Could have gone Munoz, would have ended up probably around the same spot, but Matt Brash gets me riled up, man. Transitioned to the bullpen full-time last year, and the stuff is just electric. His slider is kind of like a mythical folklore in the baseball world. It's so good. 2,900 RPMs, 10.2 inches more horizontal break than the average, almost a full foot. It's just nasty. 162 batting average against, 216 slug against it. He throws it to righties, he throws it to lefties. Good luck. That's all I have to say. Matt Brash, top 10 reliever, and you can argue with a wall if you disagree. Number 9 is Emmanuel Clase for the Cleveland Guardians. Clase came off back-to-back dominant years in 2021 and 2022 with a 1.29 ERA and 1.36 ERA respectively. 2023, though, was a different story. His ERA shot up to 3.22, which still isn't awful, but there are a few obvious reasons why. 1, he stopped striking out people. He went from having an 83rd percentile strikeout rate to a 33rd percentile strikeout rate. His whiff rate went from 30% to 27% in 2023. He also saw increases in the amount of hard hit balls off of him, and his average exit velocity went from the 91st percentile to the 64th. Nothing really changed in his arsenal. Pitches are still relatively the same. He's still throwing a 100-mile-per-hour cutter, so it might just be the fact that hitters are figuring him out. You can't ignore the dominance he had 2 to 3 years ago, but last year definitely hampers the expectations on Clase. Number 8 is Evan Phillips from the Los Angeles Dodgers. Phillips does everything pretty well. Strikes out a lot of guys, doesn't walk many, doesn't give up hard contact. His sweeper is elite. Not much more to say about it. Whiff rate north of 40%. 111 batting average against it, 194 slug. When the slugging percentage on a pitch is less than 200, you know it's pretty good. Number 7 is Jose Alvarado for the Philadelphia Phillies. I think I may be a little bit higher on Alvarado than most people, but I do really like his stuff. He only throws 2 pitches, 2 fastballs, a sinker and cutter, and that's all he really needs. One breaks arm side, other breaks glove side. The cutter's about 5 miles per hour slower than the sinker, so the velocity difference is still there. He throws really hard, he gets strikeouts, and when hitters do make contact, it's often a ground ball. You could say this is a little bit high based on the production he's put out, but I think the stuff is there for Alvarado to be a great pitcher for the Phillies in 2024. Number 6 is David Bednar, representing the Pittsburgh Pirates. The dog levels are off the charts with Bednar, but he's also just a good pitcher. 3 straight years of a sub-3 ERA, and he's been one of the lone bright spots on the Pittsburgh Pirates since 2021. The 4-seamer is his money pitch, 97 miles per hour, has 1.8 inches less drop than average, which is going to lead to a lot of pop-ups. He gets swing and miss, he misses barrels, he has an elite curveball to go along with it, and has a splitter to get the lefties out. His 4-seamer is just so good, he can just put it pretty much anywhere he wants and not get hurt by it. It's very helpful, and it's one of the reasons why he's ranked so high here at number 6. Number 5 is Camilo Doval from the San Francisco Giants. Just like Clase, he's throwing a 100-mile-per-hour cutter, but he's found a little more success recently. He has a 3-pitch mix, cutter, slider, sinker, and he throws them all pretty equally. He gets a lot of swing and miss, a lot of strikeouts. He does have his fair share of walks, but he induces weak contact. That's going to happen when you have stuff like this most of the time. Strikeout rate in the 92nd percentile, ground ball rate in the 88th percentile. Both those are very good at getting outs, and that's what a pitcher is supposed to do. Number 4 is Jhoan Duran. When you want to talk about stuff, this is the guy you want to be talking about. 102 miles per hour fastball on average. It touches 105. Good luck. Yeah, the walks aren't ideal, but that really doesn't matter when you have a 96th percentile strikeout rate, To go with the 105 mile per hour fastball, he throws a 98 miles per hour splitter, which would be an above average four-seam fastball in the league, but he's throwing off-speed pitches at that speed. It works for him though, because coming off the 102 mile per hour fastball, 98 isn't going to look as fast as it normally does. Top 4 reliever in the league, I'll leave it at that. Number 3 is Josh Hader of the Houston Astros. It's Josh Hader. He's been good for a while. Nasty arm slot sliders, basically unhittable. He had a .079 expected batting average in 2023. In 2022, he did get hit around a little, gave up a lot of barrels, which caused his ERA to soar to over 5, but I don't think that's going to happen again. He returned to his dominance in 2023, and I think that will continue into 2024. Number 2 is Edwin Diaz for the New York Mets. We all know how good he was in 2022, but obviously in 2023 suffered that freak injury in the World Baseball Classic. The only question I have with him is, will he be able to get back to it? You can see the numbers there. He was tops in the league in pretty much every metric other than walk rate. If he comes back anywhere near this kind of production, he will obviously take over that number 1 spot. But for now, I have to be a little bit cautious because of the injury and the missed time. Finally, at number 1, it is Devin Williams for the Milwaukee Brewers. He may just have the best pitch in baseball, his changeup. It's tops in the league in movement in both vertical and horizontal direction. It's so good they had to give him a screwball in MLB The Show because the changeup in the game just couldn't be made that good. A .097 average against it last year, .187 slugging, not to mention he has a great fastball to go along with it, so hitters can't just sit on the changeup. The only weakness he really has is the walks, but he has the stuff to work around them, so I'm not too worried about it. To me, he's the best reliever in the league, and he's done it for a couple of years now. That's it for the ranking. Let me know what you think. Here's the full list if you want to review. If you want to see a summary of all the lists that I've made, every position, you can click the link to the spreadsheet in the description. This is the last ranking video, so there will be a different style of video next time. But if you enjoy these videos, you will certainly enjoy those, so be on the lookout for that next week. I will see you next week. Goodbye.